A.
Hey, Miss Cotner. So this is our dual video about ethics.
And morality.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Potato, tomato.
Okay, so
what did you do for your essay?
I've been working on my outline a little bit, and the thing that I'm having like trouble with that I was really like, I don't know,
Just messed you up
like
real bad.
feel like I'm gonna get bad
Feedback?
yeah, was like at the beginning of the outline it has ethics, it says, and then it says research, I believe. So then, do research on ethics, I guess, and introduce it. But then later on, then it goes to morality, and it says how do you interpret morality. So I did that, but then right after that, it goes back to ethics and how it relates to philosophy. So I just wasn't sure on how to, like, what the difference was between ethics in the beginning and then now ethics as it relates to philosophy. So I don't understand.
Well, I think you need both hand in hand. I think that's
like what differs
between the two. I think that I see your point. Like I can see your problem, but I think that the way that our outline was set up was so we would know, we would have research on both, so that way we could.
Wait, what do you mean both though? Because like ethics and ethics is pretty much what I'm getting from it, or is it different?
So you're just getting ethics from ethics?
Well, no, because like the first one says ethics, right, and then it has research in quotations. So I would assume you research what ethics is and you like introduce it, and then after that you do more the morality and how you interpret it, and then after that it says ethics and it has research again, and then it says like how it relates to philosophy or something. So
well, you're doing ethics, like how it's defined, and then through this process you're gonna find what you think ethics is.
Yeah, but like so we do ethics and like so you just introduce it and tell what ethics more or less is. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the ethics as it relates to philosophy, do I like tell like I don't know. See, that's what I'm getting. Like, what do I do for the ethics as
like,
it relates to philosophy?
Are you confused on the ethics? Okay, so that part, like ethics is a part of philosophy. Like
well, yeah, it's a branch. Yeah,
yeah.
That's
so
what we're doing now.
It's kind of your morals and how people should act.
But I'm just saying, like, is it? What do I need? Because like I don't want to say the same things and be repetitive.
You don't want to repeat yourself.
Because I don't know if there's supposed to be a difference. Like if ethics, the first piece that says ethics in the outline where you fill it out, you introduce ethics and tell more or less what it is based on what you research about ethics, right? Mm-hmm. So then the second part, ethics as it relates to philosophy, do you tell like different different ideas that philosophers have come up with around ethics? Like
that's what I did.
Theories of ethics.
That's what I did.
Okay.
And then I related what their theories were to my philosophy. So that's how I related it to philosophers and my philosophy.
I see. So you did it in that paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. Because then right after that you have to start with your first philosopher.
Yeah, because I didn't want to start off like this is ethics and then repeat it and be like, okay, well this is ethics in philosophy. Because ethics in definition and ethics in philosophy are two different meanings.
Yeah, I feel you. So like, what did you do more or less for your like? What's your like thesis? Because I wasn't too sure what to do with thesis.
I'm pretty confused
on philosophy. So.
Well, my philosophy was that how I said in our group video, like it should be raw.
So like it's based on what you feel.
So I said that it's just based on your feelings and your reactions in the moment. It was my thesis. Was that to understand ethics, you need to understand purely yourself through these philosophers, yada yada, is what I kind of came up with for my thesis.
Yeah.
And I came up with like my 3 points were going to be my philosophers.
Because I'm still kind of torn through like between what side of philosophy I want to base my philosophy off of. Because like I do believe in the fact that like philosophy is based off of it's like an obligation based off of like organization, like through religion and stuff like that, and like law, things that are like said to be right, and things that are said to be wrong. But at the same time, I do I also agree with the idea of like it being about you, what you feel, like what you say, because like we all know like whenever you do something bad, even like dogs when they do something bad, whenever you like
you just have that gut feeling.
Like they like walk around with their head down, like you feel it inside you, and then like they always tell you.
Mr. Royston, come to the office, please.
They always tell you like when you're young, like whenever you do something bad, they always tell you like you know better, you know, because you do. Like after you do something wrong, even though no one's told you off for it or anything yet, you always feel it. You always
Well, I feel like if you're
like,
gonna like, because how you said you were torn, you really have to look at your life, like how you've been taught. Because like you said, religion, like how you've been taught, and then look at it like, okay, well, did I make those choices because of how I was raised, or did I make those choices because of what I wanted? Like as I was going through this paragraph, I was looking at all the like my life because it's my how I come up with my philosophy, and a lot of my actions, like I would think of situations and I'd be like, okay, well, I did that because my mom told me that was wrong, but to me that wasn't really wrong. It was just I did it because that's how I viewed that situation from being taught.
yeah, I know what you mean. But like one thing too that I like researched and like was doing some looking at stuff is like the learned aspect of ethics. You know, you can have two sides. You can have the religious side of ethics that teaches you killing's wrong, you know, all this and that, and then you can have like ethics taught by other like the wrong side is what we interpret as wrong, like back in World War II. Like, yeah, so like they were like when they would teach like when the Germans would think like
it was
like they would think about like getting rid of all the Jews was a good thing. They weren't thinking, and like the rest of us were seeing it as bad. So like the teaching part is not like.
But I mean, you can't go through situations like that and tell me that yes, they did those actions, but you can't tell me that deep down, not a single one of them said this is wrong. I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, because like that's another thing I researched too. Is like there's a point of like there's certain things in the world that everyone, no matter what, views as always good and something always bad. So like for example, like maybe like feeding a stray dog or something. Everyone sees that as morally right. You know what I mean? No matter what. And then like blood, gore, mass murder, like just stuff like that. People always somehow like view it as wrong.
But then again, anything that you do has you could fit into either being right or bad, and then from there you kind of branch off in your own opinion.
Not only that, but like the philosophy aspect of ethics branches out way more than
I
just
had to
good
reel
from
in
bad.
my philosophy because I was just getting off like completely into like unworldly topics. Like it was just going beyond what I was talking about. It was so bad.
Because like I was watching like one of the crash course videos on ethics and like they were going into meta ethics and stuff, and like he was using an example of like say there was a robber, he was gonna break into this old lady's home and steal her stuff from her house, right?
No.
So she knew that she would go to church every Sunday morning, so she was gonna be there. So he waited the Sunday morning, he went and he was gonna break into her house when he seen her laying unconscious on the floor. So like before he had seen her, he broke the window, and then he seen her in the floor. So he got scared and didn't know what to do, didn't want to be framed for anything, so he ran away. Even though his intentions were bad, but then there was more to it. So after he broke the window, they said that she was unconscious because of carbon monoxide poisoning. So when he broke the window, it let out
all the
carbon monoxide. She was able to not die and to wake up. So they're saying even though his intentions were morally wrong, the outcome was morally right. Does it make what he did right? So it was like getting off on meta ethics.
Were you just
and
like
stuff.
totally like?
Yeah, that's what happened to me. So that's why I'm like having a hard time with it. So I'm thinking now that I was thinking about that, maybe in the beginning, I'll introduce ethics as what it
as what
definition, what it is, stuff like that, and then ethics and philosophy. I'll start going off on meta ethics and different things like that.
I think that
maybe I don't know.
Like for mine, what I have so far now that I reeled in my philosophy is like the definition by philosophers, like what they teach philosophers in like the basics. Like when you go into college for philosophy, this is what they give you the basis is. That was my definition. I didn't do like an actual textbook one, and then I went off on like religion and how religion affects people, and then my three philosophers. So I kind of started off like factual, and then I incorporated my opinion, and then just I'm hoping to end it well on one subject.
Yeah, me too. Now I'm at the point, so I've done more or less. I've started on all the pieces that I talked about, like the beginning pieces. Now I'm researching philosophers and trying to see what they're thinking of.
what I'm doing for my philosophers is I take 2 that I agree with and then 1 that I don't.
That's
so I can
what
prove my point.
that's what we have to do. But
Yeah.
I'm just starting to research them,
But
see
now
what
I
their
think for
views
this
are.
one,
You know,
I
see
might
if they
I might
influence
do
more what I'm thinking.
I might just like I don't know I might change my philosophers because now that I talked to like you guys for our group discussion, I kind of changed the way that I thought I was thinking.
Yeah, even though like I did research philosophers for the group video, I always still look around, you know, to see more of like what other philosophers thought.
I don't know. I feel like on this topic you could really make it longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because it could just branch off into so many other things. So I think that's where I'd have to really pull myself in is to
so
just.
Like, even though it branches off like widely, there is like a base of like 3. Is from what I was researching. There's like 3 like more or less things you can branch it off into. So like the one is the meta ethics, like what is ethics made of? So that's like that one can get pretty bad on its own. And then the other one is like an application of it. So like how you use it. I forget what the third one is.
So are you gonna touch on those in your essay, or are you just?
I'm not too sure. I'm still like researching and trying to get everything organized in my head. I don't know.
So then you can put it down.
Yeah, this one's a little rough.
It's a little
Especially now that like we she was reminding us to do our citing and everything. Yeah. So I'm just trying to like get everything organized, try to proofread, make sure everything's okay.
There's just so much. I feel like this is like one of the longest essays because it just.
Not really. I feel like because the outline's like shorter than the past outlines we've done, but I feel like.
But you have
because
to
it's shorter, you need to input more. And
you have to
expand a lot more. Yeah.
Not only that, because like since this touches on morals, you have to expand on your morals. You can't just say I believe this because whatever. So I feel like that's what makes it not like the longest, but longer.
Yep.
Anything else?
Not really.
All right, Miss Cotner. We'll see you next week when we get our act together.